Hello again and welcome back to my photography channel. In one of my recent videos, I talked briefly about the acquisition of a new-to-me medium format camera, the small sibling of my RB67, the Mamiya M645. Today we'll talk about the features, the problems and the good things about the Mamiya 645 and why it's quickly becoming one of my favorites. Hi again. I know, you might be a bit confused. Where's the mysterious upper body talking about cameras? Well, I finally managed to jump over my own shadow and will try to show my face more. But don't worry, the main subject will stay on cameras, gear and photography. Today, we'll talk about this bad boy here. The Mamiya 645 Junior from 1981. This is a stripped-down budget version of the first generation of M645 cameras. It's missing the mirror lock-up and the second shutter button on top, and was a medium format system camera with interchangeable lenses, interchangeable prisms and viewfinders. They all have an electronically controlled focal plane shutter with speeds of up to 1/500th of a second. Before we dive deeper into medium format, what the heck even is medium format? This is a 120 roll film spool. Roll film was developed way before classic 35mm film canisters. They were developed in 1901 by Kodak for the Kodak Brownie. Generally speaking, medium format is everything bigger than 35mm film, being the 24 by 36mm frame, and smaller than 4" by 5" large format. There's various formats for this 120 film. There's 6x5, 6x6, 6x7, 6x8, 6x9, 6x12, 6x17 and even 6x24. We'll talk about the various medium format sizes and the different cameras that come with those formats in a later video. Today we'll talk about the smallest of the 120 formats, that's 6 cm by 4.5 cm. The biggest advantage of 645 format cameras over 6x7 or even 6x9 is their size. Because of the smaller negative, you need a way smaller film plane. The lenses can be smaller because the image circle only needs to cover 6 cm, and because of that, the cameras can be made physically smaller. You can clearly see the size difference in the body of the RB67 versus the M645. They both have basically the same features. The RB doesn't even have an integrated shutter, those are in the lenses. But because of the bigger negative, you need a bigger mirror, bigger ground glass. Everything just needs to be physically bigger, and that's where the trade-off between negative size and portability or handling comes into play. Yes, I want a bigger negative than 24 by 36mm, but do I really need 6x7 and lug around this enormous machine? Or is 645 enough and I can run around with this tiny camera? Decisions. Back when I only had the RB, the decision was easy. If I want to shoot medium format, I'm taking the RB. But when I got other, smaller, more portable medium format cameras, I started to doubt that more and more. Looking at you, Super Eye Contrast. And when this one fell into my hands, it felt like the perfect trade-off between the RB and the Super Eye Contrast. Having the same feeling, the same form and functions, but being way more comfortable and portable without breaking my back carrying it up a mountain the whole day. The story of my particular M645 Junior begins, as pretty much all gas-related stories do, late in the evening on eBay. I was originally looking around for some portrait lenses for my RB, and different M645 bodies kept popping up. But for way more money I was willing to spend. The seed was planted in my brain though. Fast forward a few days and I was browsing Le Bon Coin. That's a French Craigslist equivalent. I was originally looking for some spare parts for a car when I decided to quickly check for M645s. I found this one super cheap, sold as defective with the 150mm f3.5 lens. A few days later, I received the package. Focusing was stiff, the body wouldn't fire. As it turned out, it was a pretty easy fix though. It was just a corroded battery chamber. After some cleaning up and loading a fresh battery, she sprung back to life. I quickly loaded her up with a roll of Homa Auto 400 and went on a little stroll. After that little stroll, I knew that I purchased a camera that I really liked. So I got a normal lens for her, the 80mm f4 macro, and now I've got my basic combo of a 50 and a 90 equivalent, and I'm super happy with that lucky purchase. As a more or less professional system, you can customize the M645 quite a bit. There's tons of different lenses, from super wide angle to super telephoto, different viewfinders and matte screens, grips, film holders for 120 and 220, and the newer generation has swappable film backs, so you can switch mid-roll, just like the RB. Speaking of the RB, let's compare the two. Well, they're both big black boxes. One is just big, the other is enormous. Other than that, they are pretty much the same. Well, not really. Where the M645 has an integrated focal plane shutter, the RB67 has no integrated shutter at all. The lenses have an integrated leaf shutter, so if you switch lenses, you're switching the shutter basically. On the other hand, while you focus normally via the lens on the M645, the RB has integrated focusing in the body through a bellows system and a rack and pinion, which allows for super close macro focusing. Other than that, they pretty much handle the same. Loading the shutter and advancing the film are two levers on the RB. That got changed on the RC67 though. While the M645 has the shutter speeds on a little dial on the side of the body, the RB67 has the shutter speeds due to the leaf shutter in the lens on the lens barrel. Let's put them back together real quick. Number 2. Especially with just the waist level finder, the RB's rotating film bag comes in really handy. That way you don't have to hold the camera sideways, trying to frame while looking a bit awkward, let's put it that way. With the prism finder, that problem obviously disappears, but at least to me, the RB loses a lot of appeal if you put a prism finder on her. With the M645 and the prism, I'm okay due to its overall smaller size. But to be honest, I'd prefer a waist level finder for everyday use on that camera, which would make it even smaller. Put the pancake lens on it and the camera really becomes a daily companion. Another strong point for the M645 is the economical side of things. You get 15 frames of 645 on a roll of 120, while you only get 10 frames on 6x7. Yes, the negatives are smaller and it's a different aspect ratio, but still 5 shots more per roll are 5 shots more per roll. Speaking of aspect ratio, I love 6x7, seriously. I can't even describe why. A picture taken on 6x7 somehow has something special. For me, it's undescribable. It's not square, but it's also not as wide as a regular photo. The 6x5 frame looks more or less regular to me. Yeah, no, it's not the same aspect ratio as the traditional 3x2, the normal 35mm frame, but it's more or less in the same ballpark. Let's talk a bit about stuff that annoys me. Well, not really annoys me, but I have problems with the M645. The camera has no real negative sides, at least for me, but there's a few things that could be better on my camera. First up, the camera's electronic. and that I don't like too much. As you probably know, I prefer fully mechanical cameras that I can keep running pretty much forever. If the electronics fail on my 645, yeah, I'll still try to repair it, but if I need a new PCB or a microcontroller, well, then that's probably it. I have no doubt I'll be able to keep the RB running for as long as I want. I'm not as confident though with the M645. Let's put her aside. The next thing is the non-rotating, not interchangeable film holder. That's one of those things that if you get used to it, you really don't want to miss it, especially with my love for waist level finders. So with the M645 and the waist level finder, I don't have the waist level finder, but I'm just shooting without the prism like that. You've got basically a waist level finder. You're either stuck with landscape orientation, or you're holding the camera awkwardly sideways, trying to frame because now up is down and right is right again. It's not ideal. Other than those little annoyances, there's the tiny things, but that's not the camera's fault. The meter in the prism is off by one stop, and the prism has this classic desilvering stripe down the middle of it, which pretty much all of these prisms have, but that's not really an issue. The M645 is one of those cameras that weren't really in my field of view. I more or less just stumbled upon it, got interested in and impulse bought because of a good deal. Could have gone exactly the opposite way, using her once and then reselling because we didn't click. Get it? On a more serious note, this is an amazing camera. Totally underrated and slept on. And if you can get an M645 for a relatively good price, you should give her a try, seriously. Even if you're new to medium format and looking for your first medium format camera, the M645 is easy to load and operate. Most of them have a metered prism. Even if it's off, you can just compensate with the ISO dial, so you have no problems guessing exposure with old folders or with unmetered cameras like the RB. It's just a really well thought through camera system, and if you're looking for relatively compact, high quality medium format camera, you should give it a try. I'm definitely keeping mine for when I want to go hiking with a medium format camera, but still want interchangeable lenses and don't want to break my back with my RB. And if I want to go out with a medium format camera, no light meter, no exact finder, no fuzz, I might just take my Super Eye contact. So this is it. The Mamiya 645 has quickly established a fixed spot in the team, making it very hard for me to decide whether I want to keep my Mamiya C33 or letting her go. I actually really like 6x6, but having the M645, I'm more and more grabbing that over the C33. You know what? I'm going out with the C33 now. This brings this video to an end. I've again talked and somehow forgot time, sorry. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, seriously. This might be a tiny little channel, but every view, every comment, every like, every sub just makes my day and pushes me forward to improve my video making, my editing, myself. Thank you, seriously. I try and keep making videos about photography and gear, the stuff I like. Please tell me in the comments if you've got specific topics or techniques or cameras in mind you want me to make a video about or talk about. As always, go out, shoot, and most importantly, have fun, guys. No matter if you're running around taking pics with your phone, a $5 flea market Digicam, a cheap film camera, a Leica or a X-Pen. Create something, be it for you or for others. Have a wonderful day, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.